Every second spent chasing funding feels like a trap, right? The endless pitch decks, the forced smiles, the hollow, great progress updates that mask the gnawing fear. Will the next check actually come? It's exhausting. It's soul-sucking. Too many founders get lost here, believing that without stacks of cash, they're doomed to barely scrape by, while those with fat wallets take the spotlight, the glory, the headlines. But that's a lie. A massive, successful lie that keeps the rare, the exceptional, the misfits stuck in mediocrity. Because here's the brutal truth. Sometimes, the startups with no funding are the ones crushing it the hardest. They're the real game changers. No fancy slide decks, no glossy offices, just raw, relentless movement fueled by fury, curiosity, and trust in their own damn power. And that's why this matters, deeply and fundamentally, for every founder, investor, and leader who feels trapped by the rules the system throws at us. There's a fire burning inside people who aren't funded. It's ugly, furious, uncertain, but it's alive. It's absolutely raw energy, because without money, they have to be smarter, leaner, nastier. They can't waste 1 second on bureaucracy, endless meetings, or chasing validation from people who don't truly get them. Instead, they're forced to build real things, real value. They get closer to their customers, not just as data points, but as breathing, imperfect humans. They make decisions lightning fast because hesitation kills, and every misstep risks everything. That pressure, that chaos, strips away the fluff, strips away illusions, and leaves only the core. A brutal demand for actual progress. Funded startups often drown in comfort and distraction, lulled into scaling blindly, convinced that money equals safety or success. But safety kills. Comfort kills. Everyone knows this inside, but pretending otherwise is a survival mechanism. And here lies the secret. The most dangerous startups are those hungry enough to break the mold, not just follow it. The problem is, we're raised to believe funding is the holy grail, raised to worship investors as gods who decide worth, raised to think that success is a linear path, raise or die. But it's a trap. Because funding brings pressure, pressure to conform, to hype, to please the audience instead of the mission. When someone else's money is on the line, choices aren't free anymore. The rare freedom of true autonomy is sacrificed for tick boxes and milestones that benefit the funders more than the founders. The vicious cycle is that founders start fighting for money instead of fighting for their vision, their customers, or the real change they want to ignite. This kills authenticity. It kills rebellion. And without that, startups become just another cog in the system, designed to reward the predictable, the safe, and the mediocre. But here's the beautiful, loud, unshakable truth. Genuine breakthroughs don't come from fitting in. They come from building from the edge, from those who refuse to wait, who refuse to bend. These startups, usually underfunded, operate with a secret weapon: deep, obsessive focus. Forced to stay lean, they become masters of true prioritization. They obsess not over growth selfies or vanity metrics, but over the one thing that moves the needle, the real problem that keeps customers up at night. They are unburdened by the noise. This clarity creates a ferocity that no stack of cash can buy. Funded startups, drowning in resources, often lose this edge, becoming bloated, slow, caught in politics, and second-guessing. The unfunded hustle breeds nimbleness. It fosters raw insight. It forges brutal customer connection forged in fire and necessity. There's also something deeper and more powerful underneath all this, a magnetic, almost spiritual force that aligns the rare few with greatness. These underfunded startups don't just build products, they build culture. Culture that rejects the mainstream illusion, that promises freedom but delivers chains. Culture that honors individuality over conformity, that celebrates the rare spark inside each person rather than demanding they fit a mold. Because money tends to homogenize. It tends to attract the safe bets and the status quo. But the greatest founders, the greatest teams, those who ignite the future, they cherish their quirks, their wild ideas, their madness. Without funding, these values become non-negotiable survival tools, and that's why they often end up with more loyal, more radical customers and supporters who actually believe in the mission, not just the product. And then there's the reality of connection, the real human side of this startup game. Funded founders often end up trapped inside echo chambers filled with smart people who just talk, analyze, debate, but never do. Underfunded powerhouses hustle on the front lines, forced into brutal collaboration, learning to lean on each other, pooling resources in ways that spark real innovation. It's a different kind of networking, raw, messy, and full of fire. It's not about shallow alliances. It's about fierce partnerships that push limits and break new ground. This underground synergy doesn't just fuel startups, it creates movements. Movements that refuse the old, tired systems and build something new from scratch. A free, autonomous network where the rare find their power, not in how much money they have, but in how deeply they connect, challenge, and create. Knowing this changes everything. It cracks the illusion that money is the score. It forces a critical inside-out rethink. The only thing truly scarce in this world isn't dollars or investors. It's commitment to truth, to authenticity, to becoming more than what the world tells us to be. So how do underfunded startups win? They win by being sovereign, by taking ownership of their mission and stovepiping everything that doesn't serve it. They win by being brutally critical, questioning every assumption, including what success looks like and what is possible. They win by being transformative, not just improving the old frameworks, but redefining entirely what a startup can be, who it serves, and why it exists. They win by being patient, by understanding that real change takes time and relentless focus, not flash and hype. And most importantly, they win by aligning with the few who match their fire, the right customers, the right partners, not just the easy checks. This is a path that's not for everyone. It's hard, lonely, and often terrifying. But it's the path of the radical few, the founders, investors, leaders who refuse to play by the tired rules, those who are tired of living a borrowed life, who would rather burn with passion than freeze in security. For these individuals, lack of funding doesn't mean lack of power. It means freedom, the freedom to fail as deeply as they want, the freedom to reimagine everything on their own terms, the freedom to build beyond consensus. And here is how to harness that freedom into unstoppable force. First, obsess over your users, not the investors. Solve the problem nobody else is talking about. Dig deep. Watch their pain like a hawk. Speak their language. Build so close to them that their success becomes your oxygen. When customers breathe in your value, you no longer need to shout in investor boardrooms. Second, ruthlessly trim everything that doesn't feed this mission. Every distraction is a poison. No fancy perks, no inflated headcounts. Work with small, wild teams that share your hunger. Speed beats scale until scale is ready. Starve the ego to feed the impact. Third, build your own autonomous network. Find and fuse those rare few who share your fire, not institutions, not standard communities. An underground of believers, challengers, collaborators who fuel your rebellion against the status quo. This network isn't just a support group. It's a launch pad for radical synergy where breakthroughs happen in shadows, away from the noise. Fourth, embrace impatience with comfort, but be patient with growth. Growth isn't linear, and real transformation takes time. Celebrate brutal honesty about what's working and what's not, and have the guts to pivot or kill ideas when needed. But stay locked in. The world doesn't reward the loudest, fastest failures. It rewards those who survive through the brutal grind with integrity. Lastly, claim your sovereignty. No one owes you. No one will fix your problems. Being underfunded means you have one job: own everything. Your will becomes your weapon. Your clarity, your shield. Cut ties with illusions that someone else's money equals your value. You're the builder, the fire starter, the rebel. At the end of the day, those startups without funding are often the true giants in disguise, because they carry what no money can buy: freedom, grit, authenticity, and a relentless hunger for real change. They outsmart, outspeed, and out-earn those many blinded by cash. And that's exactly why the future belongs to those who've been written off, those who reject the system's lies, those who refuse to settle for less. This isn't just about startups. It's about unleashing the radical individual who is tired of waiting, the one ready to burn down the map and draw a new one with fire. So, if there's a tension inside you, a fierce, aching truth that says there's more than this, then know this: funding is a tool, not a trophy. Power lives in your mind, your heart, your ruthless drive. The moment you shed dependence on cash as the measure of worth, the moment you own your mission and your network fiercely, that's when the real disruption begins. It's messy, it's wild, it's yours to own. And the ones who dare to own it will go down in history, not because they had the biggest bank account, but because they refused to sacrifice their flame. Remember, real progress doesn't come from the center. It comes from the edge, from those who choose freedom over comfort, truth over illusion, and fire over safety. This is the real startup rebellion, the one fueled by hunger, focus, connection, and sovereignty. Step into it. Your move.